Now let us see how we can concat or how we can add two lists together. So first let me show you inside the terminal. So suppose we have one list like this, 1, 2 and 3, and we want to add one more list. Now in order to add or concat, we have to use the double plus, and the next list would be 4, 5 and 6, and here we get the combined list back. So let us see how we can write a concat function to do exactly this. Now in order to add or concat, we have two lists. So for example, the first list is 1, 2 and 3, and we have one more list 4, 5 and 6. So essentially what we want to do is we want to take the last element and we want to insert that last element at the head of the next list. But taking the last element is not efficient because we have to traverse through the entire list and then go to the last element. So what we can do is we can simply reverse the first list. So the first list becomes something like this, 3, 2 and 1. And for each iteration, we simply have to take out the head and insert it at the head position for our list number 2 as well. So for the first iteration, we insert 3. For the next iteration, we insert 2. And for the last one, we insert 1. And by the time we insert 1, this list becomes an empty list. So this is how we are going to implement our concat function. So let's define the function right over here. So we can say define concat. Now this function accepts two arguments. We can call the first list as our source. The second list can be our destination. Now for this function, we don't need an accumulator. The second list itself acts like an accumulator. So here what I'm going to do is I'm going to write an auxiliary function. So first let us write the function and then we can define it. So we can simply call the auxiliary function as concat underscore function. Now remember, as I just said a couple of minutes back, first we have to reverse this list, and we can do that right inside our function definition. So here we can say that let us take the source list and we simply want to pipe it to our function of reverse. The next is our destination list, and we want our destination list as it is. So now we can go ahead and define this auxiliary function. So here we can say that we want to create a function called as concat func. This accepts two parameters, the first list called as source, the second list called as destination. Now here as our base case, we can simply pattern match on our source. So in case the source is blank, at that time we simply want to return back our destination. The next, let us see how we can define the recursive case. So we can say we want to define concat one more time, and here we can simply pattern match on the first list. So for the first list, we can pattern match on the head, and for the tail, the second parameter is for our destination list. And let us see how we can define the logic for this one. Now for each iteration, we want to call ourselves back, right? Here first let us define the second parameter. So for each iteration, what we want to do is we simply want to take the head and we want to append our destination list to this one. Now the last thing to do is we simply have to pass the tail for our first argument. So let me open up my terminal, let me go inside my IEX and let me clear up everything. Now here we can say that we want to go to tutorials.list.concat. Now the first list would be 1, 2 and 3. The second list would be 4, 5 and 6. And that's it. We get back the desired output. The last thing to do is we simply want to add our type specification. So let me take out the comment. I don't need the comment. And here we can use the model attribute of specifications for our function of concat. The first parameter is a list and the elements are any. The next parameter is also a list and the elements are of any type. And this gives back a list and the types are any. Next, coming to our helper function of concat underscore func. Now this function is intended only for internal use. So what we can do is we can define the auxiliary function to be private. So here instead of just writing def, we can write def and p. That means that this is going to be a private function. And that's it.